Hi everybody, it's Karen McLaughlin here, certified personal trainer in Hamilton, Ontario, helping you find your fitness groove with my weekly Tuesdays at 2 p.m. Facebook Live broadcast. And today I'm going to be talking about a bit of a touchy subject, I guess, when it comes down to it, but something that I hope is going to be really helpful for you, and that's how to start again with a positive attitude when you've tried and failed. And this is something that's happened to all of us, I'm sure, because we don't get it right off the bat the first time. Usually when you're trying to create change, it's hard. So usually the first time doesn't go as well as it could. I mean, sometimes it does, but usually it takes more than one kick at the can to really get something, a big behavior change to stick. Okay, so whether you've tried to lose weight, many times before, and either you haven't been successful, or you've lost it, you've gained it back, you've lost it, you've gained it back, you've been on that roller coaster, or you've tried to quit smoking and you haven't been successful, you've tried to eat better and you haven't been able to stick with it, you've tried to start a walking program and it didn't work out for you. There's many, many different kinds of changes related to our fitness goals that we try to make, and a lot of times we're not successful. And the more times you try and fail, the more you start getting really, really discouraged about it. So the first thing I want you to do here is stop beating yourself up about your past failures, because we all do it. And we're so mean to ourselves. Like, if you've tried to lose weight, like, you've lost count of how many times you've tried. It's been that many, and you start telling yourself all these horrible things. I suck, I'm a complete failure as a human being, I'm going to be fat forever, everybody else can do it and I can't. What's wrong with me? I'm weak, I'm terrible, I want to go hide under a rock. Like, there's all this guilt, shame, like, all this horrible stuff it stirs up. It doesn't serve anything. What you really want to tell yourself, and I'm going to give you a little mantra here, is it's just a neural pathway. Repeat after me, it's just a neural pathway. If there's something that you're doing that you want to stop doing, or if there's a behavior that you want to create that you haven't been successful in sticking to, it's just a neural pathway. It's literally just a little road in your brain. And that's all that is. It doesn't say anything about your worth as a human being. Okay? Whatever behaviors you're currently doing, it's because your brain's wired to do that right now. And your brain's just as lazy as anything else in this world. And it wants to take the easy way out. So the easy way out for your brain is the pathway that's already embedded there. Your current behavior is like a 6-lane empty super highway in your brain compared to any new behavior that you want to do, which is just like a little path trampled through the brush in the woods. So your brain wants to go for that easy, smooth 120-kilometer-an-hour ride down the superhighway versus the slow, laborious trample through the woods. So this doesn't say anything about your worth as a human being, okay? It's just a neural pathway. So whatever you're doing now is just the easiest thing for your brain. How can that say anything about your worth as a human being? And when your brain made that pathway, there was a reason. It thought it was serving you well at the time. Now you know better, you want to change it. But it's hard. It takes work to change the neural pathway. So it doesn't say anything about your value as a person. So it's just a neural pathway that can be changed. But the fact that you have whatever pathway you have right now does not say anything about your worth as a person, okay? And the next thing you might want to consider is maybe you didn't have the right tools last time you tried to achieve this goal. So if I asked you to go cut a massive log in half that was maybe like 3 feet across, and you decided to work at it with a butter knife, and it didn't work out too well, do you think you would beat yourself up about that? Or do you think you'd be like, man, I think I need a chainsaw? Right. So it's the same thing when we don't succeed in other areas of our life. If you're going at it with a butter knife and you need a chainsaw, like obviously you're not going to be successful. So maybe you just didn't have the right tools the last time you tried to change this behavior. Okay? So those two things are really important, and I think they can both help you to stop beating the crap out of yourself about your past failures. So one, it's just a neural pathway. Two, maybe you didn't have the right tools. Okay? So the next thing is, maybe you need to change your story a little bit. I see this all the time with clients that come to me and they'll be like, yeah, I'm just not the type of person who can lose weight. Or, you know what, I'm not really the type of person who's ever been very physically active, or I'm not the type of person who enjoys being physically active. Those are just stories you have about yourself. And it doesn't mean they're true, but it does kind of create a self-fulfilling prophecy. As long as you believe that, you're going to continue acting in ways that keep it true. Okay, so just let those things go. And I'm going to give you a little tool in a couple minutes that'll maybe help you if you're one of those people that is stuck in a story like that. And it's surprising, most of us are stuck in stories about something in our life. Usually the things that we want to change that we haven't been able to change. It might not be a health or fitness thing, but if there's something you've really been struggling to change, you're probably caught in a story about it that's not serving you, okay? So the next thing is, the flip side of this is, you know, we go through the whole beating yourself up mercilessly, incessantly, but then sometimes we like squash that all down and we hype ourselves up and we go, yeah, I'm going for it again. You know, you've tried to lose weight before so many times you couldn't even count how many times it is. And you squish all that stuff down from before, all that negative crap, and you get kind of Pollyanna about it, and you jack yourself up, and you're like, yeah, this time I'm going to be successful. I'm going to lose 50 pounds by July. Watch me go, baby, I'm all over it. And you psych yourself up, but in a way that has no substance to it. So you really like get this like almost euphoria for a short period of time. Maybe you can maintain that for, I don't know, I think maybe a week or two. If you're really lucky, you could maintain that. But you just get so hyped up and you're like, yeah, this time it's going to happen, I know it. But there's no substance behind it. You don't have a concrete plan. There's really no reason to expect that anything's going to be different than it was last time. So, you know, what eventually happens is, and it often doesn't take too long, is you crash and burn. It doesn't work because you can't sustain that enthusiasm without any substance underneath it, any actual concrete plan. So then you do crash and burn, and then you're back right where we started again, beating yourself up and telling yourself stories about how you just can't do it. Okay? So just notice if any of those things have been or are true for you currently, because if they are, then you want to let that go. And then what you want to do is move on to thinking about how you can help yourself succeed this time so that you can move forward with a reasonable amount of confidence and optimism, knowing that you do have some reasonable expectation of success, okay? So how do you do that? Well, the first thing is that you want to set attainable goals for yourself. And I did a whole video on this earlier this year about process versus outcome goals. And this is a really important topic. So if you missed that one, you may want to go back and check it out. I can't remember the exact date that I did it, but if you scroll down my profile feed, you will find it. And so this is important because most of us set what's called an outcome goal. So that would be that I'm going to lose 50 pounds by July thing. And the reason this doesn't work is because we're focused on this distant outcome and it's so far away, and we can't measure anything as successful up until we achieve that. And this could take months, right? So how do you keep going without any success as for months? It's just not a reasonable thing to expect. People, it's psychologically defeating, okay, because it just takes too long. So what you want to focus on is what's called the process goals, and that is what it basically sounds like. It's the daily habits that you do that are taking you towards that bigger outcome. So pick 1 or 2 or 3 little things. Those little daily habits are actions you know that you need to do to succeed, to meet that goal. And those are your process goals. If you're really struggling, just pick 1. If you're feeling a little bit more confident, it might be 2 or 3, no more than 3, and they have to be tiny. Things like, walking for 15 minutes a day if you haven't been walking before. If you have been walking before, you could up it. Eating my good old half a cup of carrot sticks at lunchtime. I like to pull that one out. Drinking a glass of water with every meal. Whatever the things are that you know are going to get you there, that you haven't been doing already. Those are your process goals. The things that are going to help you build the daily habits and routines that you know, these are things are going to stick with for the rest of your life, that are going to keep you successful for the long run, okay? So they have to be the small, attainable process goals. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to start asking yourself questions, okay? And this goes back to that thing I was talking about earlier about, can you change your story a little bit? I'm like I'm not a person who can lose weight. I'm not a person who's ever been physically active, blah, blah, blah. So start asking yourself some questions about, why didn't this work last time? Or I wonder what I could do differently this time. I really like that one because it's very soft, but it opens up a lot of possibilities. I wonder what I could do differently this time, because you're not blaming yourself for anything that happened in the past. It's just like, I wonder what I could do differently this time. And another one is, what could I do this time that might make it easier on myself to create this change? What might I do this time that could make it easier on myself to create this change? So those are, like, something might have come up to you right away when I said that. But these are goals, or these are questions that you could just write them down, maybe sit with them for a little bit, carry them around in your back pocket for a few days, and see what comes up for you. Because we actually do know our own answers. So you start asking yourself questions, you're going to get some really good clues as to what might be helpful for you to help you create what you want to. And it's funny because that one about what can I do to make it easier, like, we're such, humans are so funny, like, we almost revel in the struggle. It makes us feel righteous, and so it's almost like, make it easier on myself. Well, gee, I don't think I should do that, but ask yourself the question, what you could do to make it easier on yourself, and see what comes up. You'll be surprised. I almost guarantee it. So then once you've spent some time with those questions, now you can come up with a really great plan for yourself. So you have that substance behind your goal. You know what you need to do, and now you have a plan for how to do it. And it starts with those little tiny behaviors, but also you figure out what the behaviors are that you need to do, and you figured out what's maybe been stopping you in the past and how you might make it easier. And now you'd figure out, what tools do you need to get the job done? The butter knife didn't work. Maybe you don't need a chainsaw, but what do you need? So some really great tools that I would recommend using. One is called if-then planning. And I did a whole talk on this one a few weeks ago too, because it's very simple, but it's super powerful, like ridiculously so. Research has shown that using if-then planning will make it 3 times more likely that you're going to succeed at whatever goal it is that you're using it for. So 3 times more likely, that's insane. Like, a lot of things are like, yeah, we'll increase your chance of success by 15% or 20% or whatever. 3 times more likely, I'll take that, please. So definitely go check out that video if you didn't see it before, or even just Google it on the internet if you want a quick and dirty summary. There's a few good articles out there. But really quickly, what an if-then plan is if my coworkers offer me donuts at work, or whatever the thing is you want to avoid, then X. Then you're going to do, what are you going to do? So you have a plan in advance. And so all those, that's why that list of what didn't work last time is so powerful, because you can start to create if-then plans around those things that tripped you up. So knowing that that may well be one of them, if you know, I know many office environments these days are rife with all that stuff. So then you create a plan around it. So then you're not caught like a deer in the headlights, or then you don't just default to the taking one. You have a plan. So and you've got to write these out. Like, don't just do it in your head. No. Write them down. Write them down and carry them around with you. Like, review them. Okay, so you're putting a little mini, I don't know, I'm not a computer programmer, but there's a word for that, like little tiny subroutine, something like that. Putting a little subroutine in your brain. If this happens, then why? And it's amazing because your brain likes that, because your brain does kind of work like a computer a little bit. So these are enormously powerful, and it's going to increase your odds of success enormously. So please consider using that tool. Other things you can do, journaling has also been found to be super successful. So writing down your food intake and keeping a record of your physical activities. And even if you don't sit down, and this isn't about sitting down and like adding up your calories, oh gosh, don't do that. I really don't believe in doing that. So this is not about that sort of thing. You don't have to actually do any quantifying of it afterwards. Like, the research is just about actually the recording it. And it just brings so much more awareness to you of what you're doing. That's really what it's about. So, I mean, if you're really into quantifying stuff, you could. I really, really don't like the whole calorie counting thing, though. I'm not into that. So I don't recommend that. But definitely writing down what you're eating, if that's something that you feel you want to change, and writing down physical activities. And even writing down, another thing they found is really helpful is actually writing down, you know, after you eat a meal, like, how do you feel afterwards? And then you can start to notice, like, oh, maybe that type of meal really isn't worth it. I don't feel good afterwards, or I feel really sleepy, or, you know, however it makes you feel. Or another type of meal, you might notice, wow, I wasn't sleepy afterwards. I had a lot of energy. I felt really great. So then you start to notice those patterns too. And same with exercise. I think it's really important for us to tune into how physical activity makes us feel too, because something interestingly, like, I really notice it for myself a lot, but many people, a lot of my clients, don't really seem to until I point it out to them, and I keep saying, wow, do you notice how much better mentally you feel right now? Or, you know, you told me, like, last time you came in, how much better emotionally you coped with, you know, that scenario with your brother that was really challenging, you know. And I have to really point those things out to people because they tend to miss it. But by keeping a journal, sometimes you can catch that stuff too. Okay, so journaling can be really powerful. And the third thing is using a habit tracker, which I've mentioned before. So all those little daily actions that are your process goals, I really recommend setting up a habit tracker for those so you can check them all. I mean, you can just use your calendar if you want to go old school. I mean, I'm totally cool with that too. You can just check off every day on your calendar if you've done it. But I have several behaviors that I like to track daily. So I use a little habit tracker app that's totally free. It's called Loop. I have no idea why, but Loop, Loop Habit Tracker. And it's super simple because I'm not a techie person. And it takes just a couple minutes to set it up, and then you just literally check off each thing you do every day. So it's very quick, but then it'll give you little graphs. It'll show you trends, you know, how many days in a row you managed to keep doing it, and you can see like little graphs up and down if you know, didn't stick to it. So anyway, that can be really useful and a little fun too. If you're the type of person who loves to-do lists and checking things off, like I think you'll really find that helpful. Okay. Another thing, and this is going to sound totally crazy, I know, but if you don't already make your bed every day, start making your bed in the morning when you get up. And you're saying, Karen, what the heck does that have to do with anything else? I'm trying to lose weight. How is making my bed going to help me do that? Well, it's interesting because, and again, I have talked about this before in the very first Facebook Live I ever did on habits, which I know it was very long, but it's worth it. It's a good one. Making your bed is what they call a keystone habit. And what a keystone habit is a habit that has like a domino effect across your life, so that habit, and they don't even know why this happens, which I think makes it kind of cool. I love things that science can't explain. So it's just, by doing that action, it creates widespread change in your life. And they don't know why, but there are a few things that are like that, and the keeping a food log is another one of those keystone habits. So, it sounds nuts to think that making your bed might help you lose weight or be more active, but it actually probably will. So if you don't already do that, just add that in, and you may be surprised at what happens, and your bedroom's just going to feel so much better. Trust me. Honestly, it's embarrassing. I was never like a bed maker, and I've started doing it because I tell everybody else to, and it really, I don't know, it does something. It does something. So make your bed. So yeah, those are some great tools, and you know, those obviously aren't the only tools, but I think that they're a few of the most powerful ones. So give them a try. And the last thing is just to get support. Trying to succeed in a vacuum is not easy. So don't be the Lone Ranger here. Enlist the help of your family, your friends, or your coworkers. Tell them what you're doing. Going public with your goal actually has been known to really help people succeed as well. It's a little bit more motivating when like 500 people know you're supposed to be working towards it. But I mean, I don't want that to seem like a shaming thing, because that's not the way I mean it. But it does seem to help the more people know that you're doing something, because they'll help you, you know, unless they're jerks. So don't tell the jerks in your life, but tell the supportive people in your life what you're doing. If anybody tries to bring you down about it, then forget them. But definitely, you know, the more people that you can enlist in your life and say, look, you know what, it's really important to me. I really want to lose 30 pounds, and these are the 3 behaviors that I'm really working on, and I really love your support in helping me to stick to those. Like, get the people who care about you to help you, okay? There's no shame in asking for help. We all need help, okay? Get the help. So you could also actually, and this can be really fun, if you have a friend or a coworker or family member, anyone who might be interested in working on the same habit as you. Say you both want to start walking for half an hour a day. You can use each other as habit buddies. So, and you know, technology is so great for this because it doesn't matter. They can be anywhere in the world. You doesn't have to be, I mean, if they're someone who's very close by, you can literally walk together, and that's fantastic. But maybe, you know, one of my closest friends is in Albuquerque, so we're not going to be walking together. But what you can do is just a quick daily check-in by text, email, however you want to do it. You know all the technology that's available to you. But you check in with each other at least once a day. Hey, did you walk yet today? And so you just give each other friendly little pokes, and it really helps. So then you're both successful. And so again, really powerful. You know, I definitely recommend it. It's going to increase your chances of success by, I can't pull any exact research from this one because I didn't look up any studies, but I know just from my own experience, it's going to help you a lot. And, you know, if you really need a lot of support, that is what I am here for. just to plug myself a little bit, but you know, I'm the ultimate support, because sometimes you need a little distance, actually. You know, like, it's great to get your family and friends and involved and have buddies in that, but sometimes you just need somebody who's a little bit more objective about things. So, you know, if you do want that level of support, please reach out to me. You know, I'd be happy to chat with you about how I can help you. And as I always say, I am not a pushy, salesy person. I just would like to know, truly, can I help you? Like, I'm not the person for everybody, and I know that. So, you know, if you need help, I may be the person for you, I may not, but if you don't ask, you'll never know. Okay? So if you're curious, just message me, leave a comment below, or give me an email, yourfitnessgroove@gmail.com, or you can even text me or call me at 905-536-0148. So, I hope something I've said today will be helpful for you. I know I can't think of a person alive who doesn't have at least one goal that they're working on, that they've been trying and trying and trying, and they haven't made it there yet. So I know I do too. Like, I tell you guys all this great stuff, but I'm human myself. So I still have things I struggle with, believe it or not. So I'm going to be out there using all these tools that I just told you about myself to work on the things that haven't been working for me. And I hope you will too, because one thing I've really noticed is knowledge is fantastic, but it doesn't change anything until you use it. So it's great to listen to these things, and I know, again, I'm guilty as charged about this too. I love learning and getting new information, but it doesn't change anything until you actually live it, okay? So listen to it again if you need to, because this is going to help you. Just whatever the goal is that you haven't been able to be successful at yet, listen to it again, take some notes, make a plan, get some support. Oh, and I meant to, there's this cool statistic that I keep forgetting to say, and I keep meaning to say it, but Statistics Canada says that using a personal trainer will increase your chances of being successful at your fitness goals by up to 90%. I think that's pretty cool. So, and I know, because I'm so hardcore about rocking the habits and helping you create some permanent change is what I am about. So again, I'd love to support you if you need personal support. And even if you just need to go back and watch some of my other videos, please feel free to do that too. Like I said, the if-then planning one, I think it's over half an hour. I talked about if-then planning, if you need more details on that one. And, oh my goodness, what's the other one? Oh, the process versus outcome goals. Yes, there's one there too. And you know what, guys? I know it's a little hard to find them because Facebook will not let you label them in the video section, unfortunately. Or if they do, I have not figured out how. So one of the things I'm working on is I'm going to download them all and edit them a bit, hopefully, and get them up on YouTube. So I am working on that, but I haven't done it yet. So they'll be a lot easier to find once I get them up there, okay? So hang tight until then, or start digging around. If you really want one of those and you can't figure out where it is, just message me and I'll find it and send you the direct link, okay? And, oh, the other thing I just wanted to quickly mention is I am also working on putting together that habit hacker for you, which basically is going to encompass a lot of these ideas I just talked about, how, you know, to be successful with a new habit, hacking through how to do that. Okay, so I am working on putting together actually a written document for that as well, that is going to be available for anybody who signs up for my newsletter. So I will let you know. I'm a little behind schedule on this stuff for some reason. So I need to use my own tool, the tools I tell you guys about. I need to start doing what I'm talking about, right? Anyway, as soon as I have the habit hacker ready, I will let you know. And I think that's everything I want to let you guys know about for today. So just a quick favor, if you got something out of this video, please share it, because then your friends can get something out of it too. I really would love to help as many people as possible, because you know what? When we're all out there rocking our goals and achieving the things that are important to us, we're happier humans, and then we're nicer to one another, and we just create a better world. Okay? So let's spread the love, and please, as always, like I already said, just get in touch with me if you have any questions, need some help with anything, however I can help you, let me know. Okay? And up until then, have a fantastic week, and I will see you next Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern. Okay, guys? Take care.